Please welcome SVP and GM Communications, Media and Energy, Salesforce, David Fan.
Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Awesome. I'm very happy to be here. It's good to see you all. And it's great to be back here at the Communications Industry Keynote. Now, I wanted to thank you all for being here. I know that there's lots of things going on, so it's a privilege for us to have you here today. Also want to thank those who join us on the Salesforce Plus. Now, I want to especially thank for those who travel from far away. We have participants coming from every continent here this week. So thank you for making the trip here. Now, I also want to make a special shout out to my fellow Canadians who are here, not because of baseball, all right? But they travel here during the Canadian Thanksgiving, and thanks for doing that. Now, we are not going to talk about what happened to the Yankees. We'll explain later for the people outside of US and Canada. But we are going to be talking about becoming an agentic telecom enterprise today. Yeah? So this morning, as I was getting ready for the keynote, I asked Agentforce to help me to prepare for this session. As you can see, it's doing a pretty good job. It understands the context. It understands that I've been working with Meredith on this keynote. It tells me the important things in terms of when I need to be here so I wouldn't be late. It also summarizes pretty well in terms of the key themes, the announcements that we are going to make, our guest speakers, the key messages, the demo highlights, right? This is how we work now. We embrace AI in everything we do so that we can be more productive. Now, we are all here because of the promise of AI is vast, transforming our industries, our business, and how we work. AI is so powerful, it's changing the way we do things, right? Many of you have already experienced AI to help you to do your shopping, to plan your vacations, to plan your career, education, aspiration, helping doctors when we go see them. And just imagine how we can leverage AI and turn every single one of our customers to have an amazing experience. Now, we are still in exploration stage. We haven't fully explored or realized the full benefit of AI yet. We have 93% of us has already started the agentic AI projects, spanning across different use cases, from personalized marketing to customer self-service to network automation. Now, many people believe that we can throw a bunch of data and questions to generative AI, we'll get the response back. And to certain point, it works, but then it gets stuck. These projects are easy to start, but hard to finish. And many customers who try to DIY, they tend to get stuck. In fact, 95% of them. The reason why is because they don't have the full context of the business, of the industries, and sometimes they are not intuitively connected to the outcomes expected by employees and customers. So let's just imagine this a little bit. What if we can change this? What if we can all fully realize the potential of AI, unconstrained by any of the tech debt that you have or any monolithic processes? What would that happen? What we believe is that being an agentic telecom enterprise means being an unconstrained telecom. Being an unconstrained telecom means unconstrained workforce. Just imagine that you have infinite number of digital workers helping your human workers so that your employees can market, sell, fulfill, and serve more efficiently. Also think about being an agentic telecom means unconstrained experiences, unlocked for your customers, your employees, and situation. We meet them where they are, and we deliver this supernatural, hyper-personalized experiences that you don't need to learn how to use that. And it is also about unconstrained growth, helping you to close more deals, helping you to launch offers quicker, to help you to go beyond connectivity, expand into adjacent industries so that you can grow your revenue. This is what Agentic Telecom is all about. Now, how can we help? Agentforce C360 for communications give us the industry depth that will help you to accelerate your agentic AI journey. We delivered industry context using our industry data, metadata, and semantic models. We also invest in industry-specific actions and agents so that the agents can actually do things, not just doing extraction and summarization. We also focus on interoperability so that your system can work with your, so that our system can work with your system as well as with other agents. Now, we have gone so far, I think you heard in Mark's keynote yesterday, we have been redefining our products, right? So sometimes you will hear us talk about Communications Cloud, but Communications Cloud has to be redefined to be Agentforce Communications. So you may hear us using Agentforce Communications and Communications Cloud differently. They are the same product, but the approach that we develop those products, capabilities, are different, and we're going to explain that a little bit later. Now, what does this look like when you have agentic AI and industry agents to be in every single step along the customer journey? In sales, it means you're able to follow up 100% of your leads. You're able to get your quote out the door faster. In service, what it means is you can offload some of the simple tasks to the digital workers and allow your employees to work on more complex use cases. So they all leverage the data, the context, and the workflows to help you to accelerate your agentic journey. Now, today, we're going to start with where everyone should start. It's really about laying the data foundation. We're going to hear from AT&T, who is leaning in, establishing the data foundation to revamp the whole customer experience. We're going to show you some of the innovations that we have to show the power of automation and workflow that the agent needs to have. And then we're going to hear from one New Zealand, who's paving the way as the Agentic Telecom. So now, we're going to start with chapter 1. I'm going to introduce one of our executives, one of the thought leaders who has spent lots of time with telecom customers in the US, as well as our special guest, AT&T. Lori Palmieri.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Do you want a clicker with
Sure.
Meredith, I think? Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you all for being here. I'm excited to bring up Deepak Sharma. So he leads the AI innovation team on the consumer side for AT&T. Come on up. So I'm excited to talk to Deepak for a few reasons. First, you're going to absolutely love his story in turning AT&T into an agentic enterprise. We're going to talk about 3 big things. One is kind of the partnership and how you've laid the data foundation. Second is all around AI and where they've taken their kind of agentic enterprise. And then the third is about humanity. And that's probably my favorite part of the conversation and how you're kind of focusing the work you do. So let's start with the partnership. And funny story for any of you that haven't heard this. So Mark Benioff, I think, walked into an AT&T store, maybe in Hawaii. And he spends a lot of money for Salesforce to use AT&T as a B2B customer. But as he got there, they didn't actually recognize him except for his very small consumer footprint and couldn't marry the two together. So I don't any more. I think you got the phone call pretty early on from that interaction.
So yeah, thank you, Laurie, and excited to be here. That story everybody knows in AT&T. Everybody hear about it, and that's the foundation of how our relationship was started. And what we have done from that, really building a core foundation between like Salesforce and AT&T to serve our customer, because that was a starting point where Mark walked into the store and I think he didn't get a call from AT&T, I guess, and Yes, and then we kind of really started working on our CRM systems to make it more intelligent, and that's what we have started our partnership.
That's great. Let me start you with, so tell us more about the work you do, and then I'm going to take you into the kind of platform foundation layer, because that was, I think, step one for you all. But tell us more about the role you play and how extensively you touch the systems.
Yes. So my role, I have some of my peers in the audience, but my role is I lead the Salesforce platform and the consumer GenAI technology. I'm also leading some of the architecture that we do across our B2C and B2B clouds. And going back to our partnership again, I think we started this on a B2B side where we use our communication cloud to serve our enterprise customers. The enterprise customers is a lot more complex. They have very complex workflows. The overall, the life cycle from a customer perspective, as well as from a product life cycle, is very complex. So what we have done is we've basically connected communication cloud and integrating that to our legacy systems, and also replacing a lot of legacy systems to creating a very simple coding to activation, and building that journey a lot more simple. And again, if I move back to B2C, that's where the real power we have seen in the platform as well. And our objective in that space is also how we can consolidate all our legacy CRM systems and all the legacy systems that our employees use today, and create a unified employee experience that drive a better customer experience. Creating that customer 360 view that actually addressed the problem, what Mark had in that store. Really connecting our customer across B2B, B2C, and really bringing that one unified channel or view. So that's what we have been doing and building that experience. Today, I'm really excited to say that we've been on this journey for a few years now. We've built a lot more scalable and a lot more secure platform for our employee. This is the first time where I have seen in my career in AT&T here, where our sales rep, our service rep, our marketing cloud people, they all are on the one platform. Imagine the power that give to the technology team, to our employee, and even to our business. Because
so you really went from the B2B side, which
yes.
Solving sort of big problems, but
Yep.
for big customers, and then 75,000 employees across your company
Absolutely.
got onto the platform for the scale side.
Absolutely. So we have around, rightly said, we have 75,000 frontline expert on the consumer side that use this platform. If I give you the scale that we deal with, we have around 1 million calls that we take on this platform on a day. So the scale, this is one of the things I see in our telecom industry. If you really want to deal with the scale, that's the place you want to be. And 1 million call a day, that doesn't even include a lot of the interaction that we do on the digital side of it, and the retail store, we have thousands of the retail store, thousands of employees using the same system. So the amount of conversation we do with our customer through this platform is huge.
I thought you said an interesting thing, because it's easy enough to say, well, AT&T is AT&T, it's its own thing, and our company's not like that. But the fact that you can solve this problem at that scale for one of the biggest companies, one of the oldest companies, one of the most probably complex operational companies, if you solve it there, it can work anywhere.
That's right.
So.
I always look at this, when you look at the companies like AT&T, who's 150-year-old, and have still operate more of a startup. That's what I see. Today, we are really transforming our digital channel for our employee as well as for our customer, and this is one of the strategic pillar as part of our transformation. And I feel like the way we have been thinking all AI, data, CRM systems, the digital properties, we are really ahead on the technology curve, and even though we have so many legacy systems, the way we bring all of this technology together is really inspiring.
So let's talk about the data and AI for just 1 minute, and then I want to get to the humans.
Mm-hmm.
So you spent a lot of time on the platform, getting the platform right, aggregating data. Tell us more about that data piece. How did you start thinking about it, getting to the right workloads?
So this is again goes back to what we were talking about, and even Mark touched that in the main keynote. Your AI is as good as your data, and your AI and your agentic journey can be as fast as your data enables it. Because if you don't have the right data at the right place at the right time, you may not be able to help the customer the way you want to help it. So again, if you really look at our customer on the phone, and when they're talking, and if your data and the AI takes just more than a few seconds, the customer has already left that point. So that insight is not helpful. So it's about enabling the data at the right time, at the right moment is the key. All our legacy systems, they were all built in silo before, right? You have 5 and 6 CRM system based on the product, based on the channel, based on the business need. Now you're bringing all of that together. The data was also scattered and fragmented. So it's really important that how you bring that data into a common repository, and there's like zero copy architecture where you're not replicating the data into the different systems. So the data is the key, and how you really define that data integration pattern is also another key, because you can get the data at one place, but if you cannot consume the data and drive the insight, it's not helping you.
Which is where I think you got to your customer service center, and you're starting to layer agentics on to make their lives easier.
Yep, that's right. So again, if we go back to the agentic part of it, now if we touch into the agentic, this is the key. Your agentic is going to be powered by data, and your as Mark said in the keynote, I'm going to refer is, agentic journey is like all the enterprise is kind of looking at how can I compete with whatever the consumer is using at a home? How can I create that similar type of experience in office? So it's not just your consumer, even our employee has an expectation when they're on the call center, they say, you're already listening to the call. So why can't you just understand that from a technology team and listen to the conversation and help me navigate through the system? So it's not just your customer has an expectation from this agentic AI, your employee are having expectation that how can you make it simple? How can you use these LLM? Now everybody knows, everybody has access to LLM. So they're having the similar conversation that how can you create it more seamless for us?
Well, and that's what I think makes you special as a technologist and a business leader is the work you're doing, you're putting your employees and their lives and their careers at the center and thinking about how does the technology serve them, not the other way around. Yes. So just hopefully that is a commonplace thing across your executive ranks, but tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I've visited many of our contact center. I've been into the retail store. One of the things which I hear from our employee constantly that, and it's really fascinating to see that how much they appreciate the work that we do for them, because that's helped them make their living, right? And I see that many times people struggle. When they struggle with our system, they basically struggle to do the job. And sometimes just walk out of the journey because they cannot keep up with it. So this AI is putting in level field, really enabling a lot of people to do their job and do the job with the satisfaction. So it's really good.
Well, it makes you special. So thank you for spending time. We're going to move on with the day, but appreciate it. Thanks, Deepak. Okay, I am going to welcome up Meredith, Kishore, and Joe to take us to the next part of the conversation. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Lori. Hello, everyone. As you heard David say, we're going to now walk you guys through some demos to bring this technology to life. So let's start with B2B first. So B2B is one of the highest growth segments in our business, but our sellers can't keep up. The reason being, if they're spending more than 70% of their time bogged down in manual tasks, they don't have time to beat the competition or avoid missed revenue opportunities. So let's take quote, for example, right? So typically, an average B2B quote takes between 5 to 15 days. And that's just to generate the quote. And then there are probably hundreds of iterations they have to go through to get the quote right. Now, thankfully, Agentforce Communications can help that. So Meredith, can we show how Agentforce can design, price, and quote a multi-site B2B opportunity?
You bet, Kishore. Okay, so this seller uses Slack, and she's been assigned a new inbound lead. She's been added to a channel with all of the information, context, agents, and people to help turn this lead into revenue. She's already had her first meeting with the customer where she's uncovered important insights around their requirements as well as their locations, and she's uploaded her meeting notes into Slack. She's worked with Agentforce to qualify and convert this lead. So now it's time to get to work on the proposal. So switching over to Salesforce, the seller can ask Agentforce for help designing this solution. So Agentforce parses through the information from the meeting notes and assigns all of the locations into 3 groups. From here, it parses through more information from the notes, as well as the QuadStar product catalog, detailed product and solution briefs, as well as running a serviceability check through Communications Cloud to choose products for each location group type. And it provides justification as to why it's choosing these products, which is really great for when the seller needs to generate her sales pitch. So after this, she asked the Agentforce for help creating a quote. At this point, Agentforce is taking action. So it's converting all of this unstructured data into structured data in Salesforce. So in the quote, we can see where Agentforce has used intelligent site grouping to group all of the locations into the 3 group types. We can see that Agentforce has also selected specific products per group type. Like take the R&D facility, for example. They're remote with no access to fiber internet, so it suggested 5G instead. And this is really important, these group types, because if the seller needs to make any changes to the configuration of the group sites, she can do it across all of them at once. And in this situation, she has a couple of groups per site, but imagine if she had thousands. This could really save her a lot of time. Okay, so now it's time to price out this quote. So she's going to ask Agentforce for help here too, because she knows that this quote is a bit over her customer's budget. It's followed the same rules as her rules within Salesforce on pricing. So she asked Agentforce to apply a discount. And it's able to calculate the difference between the customer's budget and the current quote price. So this is all looking really good. She's ready to go ahead with the proposal. So she asks Agentforce for help doing this too. And this takes a moment to process. So while it's processing, let's think about this. The seller was able to turn all of this lead information into a quote and into a proposal, all through an intuitive conversation with Agentforce. She didn't need deep product expertise. She saved herself hundreds of clicks, and she was able to do this in minutes. This is powerful. If our sales teams could generate quotes this quickly, think about how much more impactful they could be. The proposal's ready. It was delivered in Salesforce and in Slack. And here in Slack, the seller can share it with her team for collaboration, or she can send it directly over to the customer. So Kishore, this was all real, and I think it proves just how powerful Agentforce can be helping our B2B sellers.
Yeah, no, this is great. And I know we saw a very quick, fast demo, so let me just try to recap it for you guys, what we just saw. We saw Agentforce help the telecom seller by intelligently grouping the sites, recommend the right products, and generate a quote, all in intuitive interface of conversation with Agentforce.
Yeah.
But the journey doesn't have to stop there. Agentforce Communications can help with consumer business too. Mm-hmm. Now, if we thought the B2B business is complex, as consumers, we all know how hyper-competitive the consumer market is when it comes to mobile or broadband services. Most of the consumers are not satisfied with the service they get from their carrier. I'm sure we've all done this too, but the constant threat of switching providers, if the service is not resolved to their satisfaction, is a constant. Mm-hmm. Now, in that backdrop of hyper-competitiveness and customer demands, it's very hard for your service reps to meet the customer expectations if they're bogged down by manual tasks. And we all know care is one of the top cost areas in the business. So Meredith, can we show how, by building efficiencies, delighting customers, and uncovering new revenue opportunities in the service business, we can turn service from a cost center to a profit center?
Of course, Kishore. So here we have a service rep who's on the phone with a customer. The customer is complaining about their home internet cutting out, and they also have a Wi-Fi dead zone upstairs. Hint, they may need a Wi-Fi extender. Thankfully, the service rep doesn't have to navigate this alone. She has all of the customer's information and the QuadStar product information in Salesforce. And she also has Agentforce to help her out. So she asked Agentforce to take her through some troubleshooting steps. And on the last step, Agentforce actually suggests to run a network diagnostics test. And it's able to do this through the troubleshooting action, which calls TMF open APIs. Now, we always try to prevent or eliminate truck rolls, but in this case, Agentforce has identified that there's likely a more complex network issue at hand, and it's suggesting to send a field service rep. So thankfully, it's also tied into field service dispatching information, so it's going to suggest a few times with upcoming availability with reps who are qualified for this type of work. So the service rep can get this scheduled while on the phone with the customer. And after her phone call, she needs to create her case summary notes, and she's able to do that with the AI summary tool in Salesforce. And these notes are really important because they're going to be used to also populate the pre-work brief for the field service tech. So let's skip ahead to a couple days later to when the field service tech arrives on site. They have access to all of that information from the prior phone call, as well as the customer information in their pre-work brief. The pre-work brief also reminds the tech of the two things they need to do while on site: troubleshoot the network issue and figure out what's going on with the Wi-Fi dead zone, possibly doing an upsell. So the tech was the right tech for the job, so they were able to quickly identify that this was an issue between the fiber box and the street, and they replaced the connector. But they want to check their work. So they too can run that same network diagnostics test in Salesforce. And they're able to do this with Agentforce help running that same troubleshooting action. Okay, the test has come back as good, so great job, tech, you fixed that problem. But Agentforce hasn't forgotten about that upsell opportunity with the Wi-Fi extender for upstairs. So it's recommending an extender that happens to be on the truck and is compatible with the customer's current system. And it knows this because it has access to the customer's asset information. All the tech has to do is ask Agentforce for help generating an invoice, which once approved will go through order orchestration in Agentforce Communications or Comms Cloud. And the tech just needs to get the customer's approval and signature and install the router. So here we've seen that this customer has received seamless service from her first phone call through the tech appointment. She was able to get her problems resolved, and QuadStar was able to generate a bit more revenue.
That's awesome. So what we just saw is Agentforce helping the entire service journey. It helped the CSRs and the field techs with the relevant knowledge, so they were able to provide the resolution to the customer faster. It streamlined the troubleshooting journey, so the tech was able to diagnose and fix the issue faster. But more importantly, it enabled the field service tech to upsell in the field, which, by the way, happens to be one of the high-touch interaction points with the customer, right? The tech is actually in the customer's house. I mean, what's better place than that to give them the solution right there?
Definitely.
And overall, we just saw how you can take service cost center and turn it into a revenue-generating part of your organization. Now, all of this, both whether it's the B2B sales or the service, is powered by our Agentforce industry agents and our Agentforce C360 communications platform. Now, let's look at One New Zealand and their journey of being an agentic telecom enterprise.
These days, being connected is an absolute necessity to get through both your personal life and also your business life.
One New Zealand is a telecommunications company that has to operate 24/7. And that connectivity that we provide to that device is an essential service to so many people, both in New Zealand and overseas. I'm from this country, New Zealand. We've got 6 million people, 60 million sheep. We want to be the leading AI-enabled telco on the planet. So the partnership with Salesforce is extremely important to us.
As a telco, we've got disparate data sources all over the show, and it's not easily accessible. I'm really excited about Agentforce being able to open that up. Having that data easily accessible within Data Cloud means that that can happen instantaneously. If we think about how complex our enterprise customer needs are, you've got multiple customers, multiple accounts, personal connections. Imagine that you can have that full understanding of your entire suite of services with One New Zealand, no matter what channel you're dealing with. You're using data across platforms to better serve our customers. That's really the goal for me.
Agentforce is going to allow us to rethink about how we work together and how we engage with our customers. Better experiences, reduce times to engage with us, not having to engage with us at all, things just work. With Agentforce, we're allowing agents to take action, to actually act on our behalf. I want to deploy agents right across the organisation. I want sales agents, marketing agents, HR agents, finance agents, logistic agents. I've always said that we've got more ideas than we know what to do with. Agentforce is going to enable us to do and get to more of them. That is why I think Agentforce is what AI was meant to be.
Please join me and welcome Jason Paris, CEO of One New Zealand.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Thank you. Before we get to the interview, I just want to quickly thank Kishore, Meredith, and Joel for the exceptional demo. I hope you enjoyed that as well. And thanks for my product and engineering team for making that happen. So thank you. So that was a really good video, Jason.
So weird to watch yourself on video on stage, I have to say.
I think it's good for us so that we can get to know you, Summer, and your team a little bit better. So that was really, really nice.
Thank you.
We talk about people traveling from far away, and I think you guys won the award there.
Yeah.
Now, Jason, you are one of the first movers in the agentic AI. Can you share with us what inspired you to move so quick?
Yeah, so we're a private equity-owned telco in New Zealand. As I mentioned before, more sheep than people. It used to be Vodafone. You'll probably know that brand a little bit more. And we rebranded to One New Zealand. And when you look at the telecom strategies globally, they're pretty similar. You can probably change the logo. What the difference is execution. So the last 7 years that I've been in the organisation, we've been doing a lot of hard work on getting all the basics right, connectivity, service, value, etc. And we have been using AI to do that, robotic process automation, machine learning, generative AI. But it was this time last year at Dreamforce when Agentic was introduced that it really captured the possibilities of the next wave of growth and benefits that the telecommunications industry could get. And look, it's important to note that as I walked into Dreamforce this time last year, I said to Summer, what does agentic mean? I didn't even know. And she said to me, this is where you allow your AI to not just recommend, but take action on your behalf. And I was like, that's crazy talk. Like, that's just not going to be able to be possible. But here we are, a year later, and have deployed agentic technology across our organisation.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, we also know that you were able to get your agents up and running very, very quickly.
Yeah, we were.
That process like, yeah.
So, when you're in New Zealand and you're a smaller scale, we're not quite like AT&T. And when Mark was talking about the keynote, and then I was lucky enough to spend some time with Brian, who was the president of Salesforce. And I went up to him and said, hey, I'm Jason. I'm from New Zealand. We're sometimes left off world maps. We've got more sheep than people. You have more AI engineers in your organisation than I've got in total people in ours. How do we get the attention from Salesforce, a big global tech company, in little old New Zealand? And Brian said, pace. That's the way that you'll get our attention. And so 6 weeks later, we had all of our owners and our board at Salesforce Tower being hosted, and we went all in. And then I think a few weeks after that, we'd built our very first agent in 8 hours. So that proved to us that the technology was real. But then it took us a couple of weeks to deploy it for the reasons that we just heard before. Our data was a bit messy or inaccurate, wasn't accessible, timely. We had to integrate the agent with our technology. So it wasn't actually the tech. It was other things that were getting in our way. And Since then, we've just been deploying more and more agents across our organization to experiment on how much value can be created for our customers and for our business.
That's great. Well, you definitely got our attention and the whole industry's attention as well. Now, this is a big change. How do you get your organization's buy-in so that you can all move so quickly together?
Yeah, it is, and it's well documented and talked about that it's actually not the tech that's the barrier; it's the culture, and we found that as well. And so, trust, the key value of Salesforce, was the anchor point and key value of ours as well. And so, the way that you build trust is through absolute transparency. And so, we talked to our entire organization about this next wave of AI was going to come at us fast. And so we either needed to use it to disrupt or be disrupted. And so we put the technology in our people, in our team's hands. So we invested 25% of our AI and data budget in training, upskilling and reskilling. And we said to the entire organization, AI is not coming for your role, but it's coming to your role. And someone who knows AI better than you sure wants your role. So here is the opportunity for you to set yourself up for the next 10 years of your career by learning about the possibilities of these AI tools. Excuse me. So one half of our organisation has now been through an AI school. 1/3 of our organisation has earned a externally recognised AI credential that you can put on their LinkedIn profile. And it was pretty cost effective because it was with the partners like Salesforce and others that help provide those training modules that allow our people to understand that technology. Now, when we did this and we deployed the technology, we over-indexed on experimentation over value creation because we wanted to get this to be as widely used across the organization as possible. Everything from using Teams and ChatGPT personally, through to more sophisticated marketing and cloud, solutions from Salesforce, and we did that so to ensure that it wasn't rejected and that we didn't have to make any structural change, and we could just say, hey, within the already really difficult targets that all of us have got to achieve every single day, here is an enabler that didn't exist 12 months ago that can now allow you to get disproportionate gains, disproportionate results within your business. And that's what we've found. We've found across our AI investment a 5 times return on that investment in just the last 12 months alone. So I know that the money step is often talked about. We've found, yes, the money step is hard to get to sometimes, but it's definitely there.
That's amazing. That's amazing to hear how you upskill your employees and make them feel comfortable working with the AI. What are some of the business results you've seen so far?
Yeah, so the money step is pretty important, right? So especially you private equity owned, and all of us, we've got targets that are impossible to hit. So that's been really important. But I think the other thing for us is customers are actually enjoying the experience. So the most recent agentic tool that we've launched is our prepaid agent, which is helping our customers migrate from their old legacy plans to new modern plans. It's allowing us to do hopefully some upsell along the way, and already we're seeing a 4 times or 400% increase in our customers engaging with our agentic tool. Instead of the traditional digital or physical retail or call center channels or journeys they'd normally go through. So customers are enjoying the interactivity of an agentic AI experience.
Wow, this is truly amazing, truly amazing. Now, you told us that you were inspired when you were here last year. So for those, any advice to those who are here and maybe they're in the same situation as you were last year? What advice would you give them?
Well, the first thing would be you have to lead it out yourself, right? So, and it's really important that it comes from the board and from the CEO. I am not a technologist. The people in the team here are, but I know how technology can enable our customers and our organisation to do incredible things. So that's point one. So leadership and commitment is really important. Secondly, I would say pace. You have to just get started. So business case by doing. If you are business casing in detail, you're already being left behind. And then the third thing I would say is we use a framework which is shaper or maker or taker. And telecommunications companies for so long have thought that we are better than anyone else at innovating or moving into adjacencies. We love to build stuff ourselves. The reality is, especially in this world, we are not. You have to be ready to take this technology quickly as you possibly can. So don't let anyone in your organization convince you that you need to build a proprietary tool that is unique to you because you are special or different. You are simply not. Instead, work with the biggest technology companies around the world and take their technology quickly. And if it's not on their roadmap now, it will be in 6 months. And that'll be the competitive advantage, I think. It's about execution.
This is so inspiring. And thank you and your team as well of hosting in the Agentforce City as well. You inspire us, and I trust that you inspire many people here as well.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Jason. This is what I love about being part of the Salesforce community, right? It is all about innovation. It's all about customer going out of the way to come and share about their stories. Thank you once again. Speaking of innovations, I'm going to introduce Sidich. He is part of the One New Zealand Inspiration, and he's going to show us how Agentforce is actually being used by One New Zealand customers.
Thank you,
Sidich.
Okay, so in case you're wondering why am I not moving, I was moving quite a lot, so they've put me on a short leash, literally. But yeah, so we are all mobile customers. I'm sure we've all got one or many mobile services. So we know that changing plans could be an exercise in frustration. Customers get lost in endless clicks, and it's a maze. But what if your customer journey was actually not complex? It was simple. What if your best customer service rep was available 24/7 on a channel of their choice to help your customers and without any friction? At One New Zealand, thank you, John. At One New Zealand, a prepay customer gets a personalized message telling them that they can now move to the new prepay flex plans. They click on the link and they initiate their interaction with the One Assistant. What is the One Assistant? It's an AI-powered assistant that is superpowered by Agentforce C360 for communications that can help them make that switch. So the customer asks the agent, I want to migrate to these new plans. They absolutely do, I promise. We'll type it out. And what the agent would do is migrate to... Don't you love it when everything works when you're doing a dry run? And it does not on stage. So I want to migrate to these new plans. And the agent can absolutely help the customer do that. But what it needs to do first is authenticate that customer, because obviously this needs to be behind a trust and privacy boundary. So the agent actually asks the customer, give me your mobile number. And the next thing it would do is authenticate this customer with a one-time PIN. So it will send me a one-time PIN. I'll go and add that PIN. And now this customer is authenticated. But what also happened behind this is the fact that the agent now has access to the customer's current plan, account information, but it also ran a fraud check and a balance check, because it needs to do all of that before it can even suggest the customer can go ahead with this journey, or maybe they need to go on a different path and upgrade and top up. But in this case, the customer is also asked, do you want to explore upgrade options? The customer says yes. Agentforce is actually now pulling all of this information from the product catalog and providing customers plans that are recommended for them and that they can actually move to. It is a magic moment, and it's been made even more impactful by providing these options to the customer in a product carousel. So what's cool is it's also ordered these plans based on what's right for this customers, what's potentially more popular with all our other customers. But in this case, the customer also wants to just go and choose a recommended option. Again, with the click of a button, they say learn more. And what they can do is then they can now view this new plan and compare it to their existing plan, because obviously transparency in this process is key. So now the customer sees a very clear and concise comparison between what they currently have, what they're potentially moving to, what inclusions they have right now, and what inclusions will they have with this new plan. At any time, the customer could also ask this assistant questions about FAQs, about the migration process, ask questions around these new plans, ask anything else that is within the One New Zealand knowledge that the agent has access to in Data Cloud. But this customer is obviously super excited because these new plans are amazing. So the customer goes and says, great, I want to get this plan. And doesn't that look simple? Well, behind this, what was happening is we disconnected the old plan, we added the new plan for the customer, and we had to then execute this order downstream. All of that behind a click of a button. There's a reason why customers are engaging with this 4 times more, and that's because it's simple. But what's even better is that, as David said, you can actually experience all of this firsthand in the Agentforce city and try it out yourselves and see how One New Zealand is delivering its customers and employees the next generation of seamless agentic experiences. So let me ask you one more time. What if your best customer service rep was available 24/7 to help your customers on any channel and without any friction? Let's get David back on stage.
Thank you, Siddharth. I hope you enjoyed it. Great job, One New Zealand team. That was amazing. So far in this session, I hope you can see what is it like to have unconstrained workforce experiences and growth. You've heard the examples from Deepak and from Jason. You've seen the demos from the team. I hope they'll give you inspiration in terms of what can be done. Now, Salesforce is your trusted partner in this agentic AI journey. We understand the complexity of this industry. Like Jason said, we think we're very good, but we can work together to make it even better. That's why we built this platform that is designed to scale in this agentic world. More importantly, we also have the agentic ecosystem that will help you to get there faster. Now, our investment in the communications industry has never been stronger. If you look at in the last 10 years, we have been investing in advanced middle office capabilities. Thanks to many of you, our customers and partners who have been shaping us to guide us and advise us in terms of where we should be focusing on our investment. And you will see that in this conference, in the last few releases, we have extended beyond the middle office to get into some of the service scenario, for example, field service, asset service lifecycle management, and IT service management. So hopefully you can see your input to us made it to this roadmap, and we are very excited to bring these capabilities to you very quickly. Now, here are our recommendations. If you are thinking about how to proceed in the next steps for the agentic journey. For many of you, you already have the foundation, right, with the Salesforce platform, and take advantage of that and use it. Second, try not to think about DIY, right? Take advantage of the technologies that's already here and take advantage of it. And like Jason said earlier, identify use cases that will give you quantifiable outcomes and start with that. It is okay to learn as you go, but the pace is very important, to Jason said earlier. Now, there are a few more tips for you. There's a new Agentic AI Trends report that you can take a look at. Strongly encourage you to download and read it. Also visit us in the campground, see One New Zealand in action, as well as meet our experts. Our team there will be happy to show you under the hood how everything actually comes together. And also take advantage of this week, visit other sessions. There's a QR code there. You will always find something that will inspire you. So thank you for joining us this session.